If there's one thing we all need in life, it's a ride or die, whether that be your best friend or more importantly, your family. And Choso this week, after he saw Itadori, he showed me Choso is ride or die for his little brothers. He didn't do any talking. The second he saw Itadori, it was on sight. He started pulling out curse techniques left and right. No talking was necessary. That's the type of energy I like to see in Jujutsu Kaisen. Choso said, when I see Itadori, it's on sight. And he stood on that. The second he saw him, he started fighting. This episode though, there's not really a lot to cover other than the Itadori Choso fight, so let's just jump straight into it. Choso really impressed me this week. I'm not even finna lie to y'all. He was really putting in that work when it came to the Itadori fight. Because when we first get introduced to him, I'm not finna lie to you, Choso was not putting in the same work against Gojo that he was against Itadori this week. He was just kind of in the background of the Gojo fight, spamming long-ranged attacks, but he never really showed us, or at least he never showed me, that his hands were certified like that. I was kind of wondering why Choso was even there in the first place. He was for sure though putting those hands on Itadori this week, solidifying why he's a special grade curse user. Itadori was getting dragged this episode. Itadori has looked like a shining star in his first two fights back, going 2-0, and not only that, putting on a phenomenal performance in both of his fights, reminding us why he's the MC of this show. But Choso did not care. He was putting hands on Itadori, reminding us why he was chosen to seal Gojo. And truthfully, Itadori should have taken the L this week. I'm an Itadori fan, so I do really hate to say this, but he got probably the most Mickey Mouse win of the season so far. Choso was literally dogging Itadori the entire episode, putting holes all throughout his body, and Itadori never really responded. Me personally, Itadori, I got too much dog in me to go out like that. I would have had to put up some type of fight to Choso. Let me know though in the comments down below if you think Itadori was holding his own or if Mechamaru pretty much handed him a Mickey Mouse win this week. This fight though, it really did give me flashbacks to the Mahito Mechamaru fight, and not just because Mechamaru was, well, in the episode this week. Yes, I know this fight does include Itadori, who is the MC, but Choso has felt like a complete nobody this season, which is why it really reminded me of that fight. Like, all we really know about Choso is he's got two brothers that got packed up by Itadori and Nobara, and that his curse technique uses blood. Other than that, we don't really know anything about him or how strong he actually is. And if you've seen any of my other videos, you already know what I'm about to ask you guys about Choso's curse technique. If someone down below could please leave in the comments and dumb down the simplest way on how Choso's technique works, but I'm gonna try and summarize what I got from it this episode. Choso's technique, what I understood, it was super overpowered, but the weakness it had was also really bad, considering that his super overpowered curse technique was able to be nullified by using basic human toilet water. Like, how do you have a technique that moves at the speed of light or speed of sound, whatever they said in the episode, but then it's able to be nullified by basic water? But regardless, what I was saying before, why this reminded me of the Mechamaru and Mahito fight is because Mappa has really been going all out this season to let the side characters shine and animate them, honestly, some of the best animation in the entire series. Like, they've really been putting in long hours and long nights to get these episodes out to us, and I think Mappa deserves all praise for that. It started with the Mechamaru fight, it continued last week in the Nanami fight, and now we're getting to see it once again with Choso. Even though Choso didn't get to shine as much as Nanami did last week, because, well, he got beat down in a public restroom. Getting violated in a public bathroom is just crazy in itself anyway. This gave me flashbacks to like high school and middle school when people used to pull up in the bathroom just to go fight and then go back to class like nothing ever happened. But even after fighting in the bathroom and getting an advantage, I was shocked that Itadori actually took an L and Choso was the one that ended up taking the W. Itadori really sold and had a Gojo moment this episode, because Itadori was really taking over this fight once it transitioned to the bathroom. Pause. But he just got a little too overconfident and that ego kicked in, which caused him to be the loser of this fight. Like, especially when he said, "I can win this." That's when you knew everything was about to go downhill for Itadori in that moment. Because Choso somehow found a way to cover himself in his blood and use it as armor to protect himself from Itadori's punch. But then what happened next after watching it even multiple times is still a bit unclear to me, but you guys let me know if I got it. But it looked to me as if Choso had almost like chopped off or ripped off a part of Itadori's arm, and then Falcon punched him into the back of the bathroom until, well, he was either knocked out or dead at that point. And like I said, which at that point, if it had been any other character in the series other than Itadori, I probably would have thought they either had lost that fight, or I would have thought someone was gonna come in to save the day, like Nanami or something like that. But since it was exclusively Itadori, that's when I started thinking, man, it's been a while since we've seen Sukuna this series. Actually, I don't think we've seen Sukuna at all this entire season, actually. And what perfect timing it was for me to think that, because right on the money, it's like the bat signal was in the sky, Sukuna appears for the first time this season. And then Choso just started having like flashbacks of Itadori eating with his brothers, which currently to me still doesn't really make any sense, even like I said, after watching the episode multiple times. I'm hoping they go into this more next episode, but if they don't, I'm just gonna kind of go over what I pretty much think happened in this scene. All that I can assume for right now with the context that we have is that Itadori is such a kind-hearted and nice person, almost like Tanjiro from Demon Slayer, that if the curses hadn't been evil, he actually would have accepted them and gotten along with them to the point that they felt like family or maybe even brothers. And once again, I hope this theory is completely wrong, because if it is, this is gonna feel like one of the most Mickey Mouse Clubhouse victories, Disney World victories that's ever happened in this Jujutsu Kaisen series. And I still, even then, don't know if I can call this a victory, because that boy Itadori was toasted by the end of this fight. If anything, I guess you could consider this fight a draw at that point. Regardless though, this fight is leaning towards a Mickey Mouse victory for Itadori, and I understand he's the MC and things like that are gonna happen, but this was just extremely weak even for him. I would have rather Sukuna had just taken over Itadori's body and finished Choso and won the fight, but at this point, this still feels like an L for Itadori. I hope that those sisters are plotting something up for the next episode and that we don't have to see Itadori accept this Mickey Mouse victory and he actually gets a solid victory over Choso. If you hate Mickey Mouse victories too though, you can click this video to see Nanami absolutely violate and get a clear W.